It's no shame right here at the National Association of Broadcasters. We are doing the show here from the ENCO booth and getting some really great people that we're going to interview. We got Joe from MusicMaster. Joe, welcome.
Welcome.
Oh, wait a minute. Turn that on. Yeah, there we
Turn
go.
that mic up.
Yeah, I got to turn
I'm
the
sorry,
mic
I was
up.
mesmerized by watching my idol.
Oh, you're
do
too
his
nice,
thing
man.
Right here in front of me, like 1 foot away.
Oh, you're so
Watching
cool.
My idol.
Listen,
This is
his
like bucket list check.
Oh, that's sweet.
well, Joe is an incredible, just a staple in the industry, and you probably might have used. Did you ever schedule music at a station?
No, but I've seen it done.
So
I've been scheduling music here, which has been fun.
MusicMaster
Of course I know the name, yes.
is like massive. I mean,
Absolutely.
I think about every station.
We're everywhere, man.
I know you are.
Remember, I've been everywhere, man.
Yeah, you have been
We're
everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah, you. Well, you know, we used MusicMaster at Cater for many years. A lot of
do.
Yeah, and still do. Right. A lot of the CBS radio stations uses MusicMaster.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them. You do have a couple of competitions, but
Competition? Really?
yeah.
Oh
Well,
my gosh, that's news to me.
I'm not going to mention that
Oh,
one.
you mean the other people selling?
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
They're
yeah,
not really
and then some broadcast company bought theirs, you know.
That's like saying you have competitors.
Oh well,
You don't have competitors.
I don't.
There's only one.
Oh, you're so sweet.
There is
Joe.
only one.
I love you. Hey, you know, I want to find out. I mean, you've had MusicMaster. Well, KCBQ had MusicMaster when I worked there. It just seems like MusicMaster has been around for years. How did you start the company, and what year?
Oh, great question. 1983. Basically, the radio station I was working at, I was the chief engineer, believe it or not. But I had a background in radio programming, being on the air. And I was scheduling the music for the next day by hand. And I was teaching myself how to program computers because they were brand new back then. You know,
Yeah.
personal computers.
Oh yeah.
And I thought, you know what, I'm going to write a program to save myself some time because I was spending like 3 hours a day meticulously laying out the music for a CHR station for the next day.
Yeah.
And I wrote a program. I called the program director, Steve Schramm. I bet my good buddy in
Oh
Michigan.
yes, yes.
And he came out to my house and he's watching this little computer program spit out music logs. And he said, get this in my car. We got to get this down to the radio station. This is cool. And so the next day we were scheduling music on the computer. And a little while later he had a friend in Detroit, WCXI, I think it was.
Okay.
And he said, my friend wants to buy this. I said, I'll give him a copy. And he said, no, man, you should sell it. You work really hard and put a lot of time into it. Wow. And so I said, well, what do you think, $50? He said,
Oh, listen.
He said, dude,
Wow.
let's go to lunch. So he took me out to lunch and he said, man, this could actually turn into a business. You put a lot of work into this and you're improving it every day. And he said, why don't you try for $3,000? And I was like, $3,000? Nobody's ever going to pay $3,000 for software. That's crazy. And I chickened out and I asked for $1,000. And they immediately said, where do we send the check?
Wow.
And I was like, dang.
You're like, I should have said 3,000.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling.
So within 6 months, I sold 13 more for $3,000 each.
Oh, then you changed the price.
And you changed the price.
So that got your company started. How many employees do you have?
Oh, we've got about 25, 26 in the U.S. and Canada, and then we've got another equal number or higher number around the world. Because altogether, there's about 50, 60 people supporting music.
That's
So
wonderful.
when did you when did it really start to take off?
Well, I hooked in with these guys who were doing the ratings. They were doing sales reports based on the whole Arbitron rating.
Sure.
Tap scan.
Yeah.
And they already had a pretty good footprint with their tap scan product. And so they started selling my product and they put the main music scan on it. And so that got me in real quickly to hundreds of stations. And I kept working at the radio station.
Right.
Because I was the chief engineer.
Right.
And I was going to the mailbox every day getting checks for 4,000, 6,000. And I'm like, I went to my boss and I said, I'm going to have to quit. Because first of all, I'm working really hard supporting these new customers. And secondly, I'm making a lot more money from this
Yeah,
that I could ever make.
selling the music.
And God bless him, the GM, he basically said, you know where all the skeletons are buried. You know how to get us back on the air in seconds. He said, you just keep working here as long as you like. So I hung around another 6 months or so.
So you're double dipped.
Double dipped. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I double dipped.
Oh, that's a good thing.
And but about 6 months later, I actually had to bail, and I had to hire somebody who's still with me, Scott Word.
That's right.
Who's an awesome genius, honest to God, bona fide genius. And he's still with us today.
You know, your daughter is a producer and a very good one, a great editor. I saw a video, a commercial she did for MusicMaster, and she did a fantastic job, baby.
Yeah, she's an award-winning Hollywood filmmaker.
Oh yeah,
Surprising.
and I know the time. I mean, when I saw this video for MusicMaster, I know the time that your daughter put in editing, shooting. She got different angles. I mean, that car was going around in circles, and I knew it was more than just one take, man. But it really was beautiful. So I applaud your daughter.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you.
All right, now listen. How many stations do you have now? Thousands. Have you lost the count?
We actually have lost count.
Yeah.
And we're actually now engaged in a project to try to nail it down to exactly how many stations we have. Because, there's a lot of people who are using it for things we never envisioned.
Like what?
Well, like, they're doing streaming. Slipping off the streaming. They're using it for creative things on their repeaters or their HD channels.
Well, out of the generosity, you are a very generous person. And my friend Freddie Snakeskin has an internet radio station. And you were kind enough, I mean, he doesn't make any money, but you were kind enough to give him a MusicMaster thing. And he uses it to this day on his own station called KDL. And it sounds great.
I just love radio, and I love supporting people who are doing stuff like that because that's my passion. Call letters are my currency. I don't care about the money. I want all the radio stations to use it. And I just love going and visiting the radio stations that are using it and seeing all the different people that have the same passion for radio that I do. Because I started when I was 11 with an illegal radio station in my house.
Me too.
Are you kidding? You were just telling me you did the same thing.
Well, that's why Joe and I got such a...
from another mother.
Did you get caught?
I did get caught.
Yeah, me
twice.
too.
I got caught twice.
Yeah, I want to hear about you.
The first time I got caught, I was still pretty young. I think I was 16, 15 or 16. The FCC was tracking down 50-some illegal radio stations.
How many watts did you have, Joe?
At that point, I had 90 watts.
90? My God.
Yeah.
I only had 25.
And they came walking in right past my dad, who was a lawyer.
Yeah.
He's sitting in his underwear watching the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
And they come walking right past him, and they asked my brother, where's the radio?
This was at nighttime?
It was at nighttime, about 11 something at night.
I thought the FCC only does it during business
now
hours.
they don't work at all, but
Yeah. Go ahead.
But anyway, he said, where's the radio station? So my little brother, who I guess at the time would be about 14, 13, he yells up the stairs, Joe, there's a man here to see you about your radio station.
And he's got a badge in his hand.
So I'm quickly flipping everything off, and the guy came upstairs.
Hit the B+.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Power off, main plate off. So he comes upstairs, and he basically wants to know, where did I get the transponder?
Yeah. Where did you get the
I built it.
There you go.
And he said, okay, kid, really, where did you get it? And I said, I took apart old radios and TV. I lived in a really poor neighborhood. My family didn't have a lot of money. We lived in the inner city in Cleveland. And so I had to build this from scratch, from junk parts.
Yep.
And the FCC's coming into this house in this neighborhood, which is now torn down. And all the houses around it are torn down. And they're empty lots. And he didn't think there was any way this kid could build a 90-watt transponder. So he said, come on, who really built it? I said, I built it. He said, okay, how much power does it put on? I said, 90 watts. He said, how do you know that? I said, well, it's a Class C output stage, and I've got 600 volts on the plates, and I've got so much, and he was like, okay, kid, you know what? He said, if you brushed up on the laws, you could do this for real. He said, but what you're doing right now, I don't know if you know it, but this is illegal. You can't do this anymore. Okay, cool.
Did you have a hearing?
No, actually, what happened was they told me not to do it anymore, and I ignored that. I did it still, but I did it in different ways. But when I became 18, I went and took the test for my FCC licenses. I got my third, second, and first class all on the same day.
Wow.
I took the tests, I passed all of them, and then I got my license and I quit my job flipping burgers. And I said, guys, I'm out of here. I'm going to go work in radio. And I went to every radio station in town, and they said, we don't care that you have a first-class FCC license. You have no experience. I said, yes, I do. I've been doing this since I was 11.
What was your first station?
I actually had to get into the phone company, and then I went and put in mobile phones, and then I had to put in like equipment for police cars, and I kept looking for a job. And finally on the paper I saw in Parma, suburban Cleveland, they were building a brand new station. It was on WCFL's frequency. So that was when they had these little stations, directional AM only. And I thought, I'm gonna go out there and try to get a job. And I went, and there was an empty, muddy lot. And there was one guy out there stuck in a Jeep. So I went traipsing through this mud, and I helped him get his Jeep unstuck. And he was the chief engineer.
Oh my goodness.
And I said, I want to work here. I said, I will work here for free. I want to help you build this. So he talked to me about my background and what I was doing. And he said, you know what, I'll take you up on it. You can help me build it, and you don't have to work for free. We'll pay you. So I became his assistant. And when the station got running, I built, with him, I built a 4-tower AM directional array, a building, transmitter, studios, the whole 9 yards. It was a great experience. And once it was done, and we had a GM and a program director, I said, I want to be on the air too. So they put me on the air from 6 o'clock to sunset, which means in Cleveland that you don't have a show in the winter. Your show is, you have no show, because you sign off at like 5 o'clock.
What kind of music did you play?
This was block programming.
Okay.
And so the morning guy was playing old standards. The afternoon guy was playing 50s, 60s oldies. Then we had the guy who was actually Jim Doney, who used to do a TV thing called Adventure Road in Cleveland. He was on in the afternoons, and he was playing like Mantovani and stuff like that. And then I came on, and I was playing like rock album cuts. And my first song was Changes by David Bowie.
Oh, wow. Let me ask you, to get back to your daughter's arms are probably getting really tired.
Yes.
So we're going to wrap this up. She's shooting the proper way.
Yeah.
I really like that. So many people have their phones. Yeah, it's terrible, man. So anyway, I have to ask you one more. I wanted to ask you a question about your antenna for your little illegal station. What kind of antenna, and how did you do it?
Well, the antenna was basically a 40-foot vertical pole, and then at the top of that pole came a long wire off of that went all the way across the yard.
Okay, I was waiting for the wire. Yeah, that's what I had.
Wire. And then, but after I got caught, I didn't want to get caught again, so we decided to put the radio station into a car, into the back of a car, and we used an old Army surplus dynamotor to generate the electricity for the plate. And we used a tape deck, old reel-to-reel tape recorder.
Sure.
We pre-recorded our shows.
Yep, we did too.
We actually were taunting the FCC. We were driving around, and I was calling the engineers of the FCC out by name, and I would play things like "Catch Us If You Can," Dave Clark 5, and we were just driving on the freeway circle around the east side of Cleveland. So
did they know? Do you think they knew?
They knew. As a matter of fact,
did?
one day, we had to pull off the freeway. Every once in a while, I would jump out with a fluorescent light bulb in my hand, and I would go to the trunk. He'd pop the trunk. I'd tune the antenna for the maximum brightness on this fluorescent light, and then hop back in the car. So I'd jump out, got the fluorescent light, on tuning, got maximum brightness, and a whole bunch of cars screech up. And it's the FCC.
Oh.
And my friend, with the trunk still open, drives away and gets on the freeway ramp and takes off. So a couple of cars take off after him.
Oh.
So the FCC is saying, you're under arrest for operating an illegal radio station. And I said, I'm just holding a light. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm holding a light bulb. You need that guy.
Wow, you really dodged a bullet.
Well, not
that
really.
would have been your second deal.
That would have been my second deal. But when I got the FCC license, I actually had to do a lot of stuff. I had to get character testimonies. I had to basically write a letter that said that I dismantled the transmitter and I'll never do this again.
Well, that was very good.
Yeah, but it was nice.
You know, I have a first too. I had
Yeah. Then
now,
it became
now it's a general. Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked so hard on that.
Yeah.
That was the hardest thing. You know, and I was listening to Howard Stern. He went to so I went to Ogden's radio school to get mine. And Stern went. Did you know Stern had a first too?
I did. I
Yeah.
did.
Oh, you did.
I did.
See, I didn't know that until I was, goofing on KCBQ. KCBQ.
I never get to see him, but he's at Sirius XM and they're using MusicMaster. So every time I go there, I'm saying, "Can I see Howard Stern?" And they say no. So one of these days, you have to introduce me to.
Hey, I'm using music now, or they're using.
Yeah,
I
I know
don't
they
schedule
are.
the music.
Hey,
but,
everybody's.
everybody's using MusicMaster,
Everybody.
ladies and gentlemen. Everybody loves Joe, and I love Joe, and I love your daughter. I love everybody who works
So
for
great
you.
to hear your stories. Wow. Are
Yeah.
Is there a book in the works? Are
Yeah,
Yeah, I should do that.
you really should.
I just started
This
the first
is
chapter right here.
fascinating.
She's got it on tape.
Hey, how about
This first chapter one.
Hey, Lord, get your dad on a documentary, will you? You do a documentary on your dad.
There you go.
Absolutely.
There you
Or
go.
even podcast, because just hearing you tell the story is just so amazing. Really, really great.
We'll call it Pirate Radio the sequel. And we'll feature you too.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it. Joe, MusicMaster, the president, the owner, the general, whatever you want. Are you the president?
Chief
CEO?
bottle washer.
Yeah. But the most generous man that I know. God bless. You're going to heaven.
Well, and when I get there, I'm going to be scheduling music. for
Yeah, you are.
somebody.
All right, Joe, thanks a lot. As we continue, all right, hey, we got it. Oh, how about this? One of your favorite. We got David Bowie and Changes, right?
Oh, yeah, sweet.
Yeah, there it is, baby. You want to talk this one up? Go ahead.
I can't hear it,
Oh,
but
here.
I'll tell you. Oh, man, now this takes me back. There you go. David Bowie. Yeah. You gotta love it.
Hey, if you need to know, just
Yes.
ask Joe. Did I hit the post?
I did.
Oh, did you?
I'm not gonna miss the post.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
As soon as you said it, I said,